I liked it because it was full of innovation.
What I learned about her was very inspiring.
Developing skills they didn't believe were possible themselves.
It's definitely given me a lot more confidence to talk about things I feel strongly about.
I think in the last 25 years, the landscape of the UK has changed. We have a much more diverse society, but it's not much more cohesive.
Unfortunately, we get nearly every few weeks a murder of young people, usually stabbing, knife crimes.
There's a few students in the school who's quite racist and have just one straight view on something. They don't see two sides to it.
I believe that no one is born with hatred in them. People are taught to hate, and that at the same time that people can be taught to love, and that we should strive towards that.
The trust actually started in my own home in 1990, and I'm really proud to see how the trust has grown in that intervening 25 years. It now has a staff of over 35 people who are doing some pretty amazing stuff.
The Anne Frank Trust has become one of the biggest educational charities of its kind operating in the UK. We partner with up to 100 schools a year, along with local authorities, criminal justice services and others to deliver education to young people. Our interactive and impactful programme includes an exhibition of Anne Frank's life and diary, combined with workshops, peer education and an ambassador programme.
It's exciting for them because it's a whole new thing coming in and they learn so much from it and they're leading it, they're the experts in it.
Peer education is highly powerful. Young people learning from one another, discussing important issues is central to helping their development.
You felt more responsible, more mature, and like teaching people about such a serious thing, and they were all listening, they were all like hooked on a story.
It allows us to look at issues of prejudice, discrimination in a safe space, in history, that eventually transfers to a contemporary situation.
Anne's words and her thoughts and her hopes are at the centre of everything that we do.
She gives a personal face to the victims of persecution, discrimination, hatred.
They took some of the attitudes that Anne experienced and were able to recognise attitudes from their childhoods that were going between Catholics and Protestants.
In those intervening 25 years, we have seen some terrible things going on in different parts of the world. We have now got the responsibility of telling the stories. Yes, we still have survivors of other genocides such as Rwanda and Bosnia. All of them say the same thing, how quickly the society that they lived in unravelled and how easily people can become indoctrinated with hatred.
The story and the landscape of prejudice has been affected by things such as 7/7, racist murders.
When the attack on Leigh Rigby happened.
The conflict in Northern Ireland.
Terrorist attacks in Tunisia.
Islamophobia, 9/11.
That certainly divided a lot of people, and they thought it gave them a lot of ammunition to be prejudiced because of what had happened.
There is that, Islamic State are the enemy and therefore Muslims are the enemy, and it's really, really difficult.
If people are unemployed and unhappy and angry, they usually do find someone to blame.
The communities live very separately. I mean, they go to the same schools, but they live very separately, and that's not good because it's fear of the unknown, isn't it? If you don't mix in a community, you don't understand that other community.
Especially with the refugee crisis, there is the potential that some groups or political parties would prey on people's fears about these people that we don't know.
When you see that the local population is so hostile against you, which I experienced as well, it's really very sad to see the repeating of this situation again now.
mean, anti-Semitism is growing, Islamophobia is growing, and those that seek to divide us win if we start seeing our own citizens as a kind of a fifth column.
Where the school's based, it's quite a big former BNP, EDL contingent, and a lot of the students are very naive and easily led, and I think it's very important that the Anne Frank Trust is in the school.
We have to build and we have to revisit and we have to work with young people. We have to be consistent about this. We can't just go into an area and tick a box.
There is a huge risk in thinking in terms of stereotypes and prejudices and group identities. And I think raising awareness about the fact that this is part of being human, but that this is also a cause of huge dangers and of huge risks, that is just as important for young people as learning about mathematics or biology.
We have stories from teachers about young people being turned on again, turned on to education, becoming engaged in extracurricular activities in a way they weren't.
To see someone who won't answer a question in class speak in front of 30 people and bring them to tears it's really heartwarming, actually.
I know how to challenge prejudice when I'm around it or when I see it happening.
Some cases of bullying at school that I've, seen and stopped.
And I've had young people who've left school and have said, what happens next? I don't want to not be involved in this.
We've had a fantastic 25 years and we want to grow for the next 25 years, working across the country in as many schools as we can get into to create a society safe from prejudice and discrimination.